Welcome to Breakthrough Success. I am your host, Marc, Guberti, CEO and founder of Content Marketing Plaza, bringing you 3 new episodes each week where I and top-level guests teach you how to take your business to the next level and achieve your breakthrough. Now, if your breakthrough is to become an influencer who makes money doing what you love, we recently opened up the Advanced Influencer Mastermind, which you can learn more about over at contentmarketingplaza.com/mastermind. That link will be in the show notes. But what are we going to talk about in today's episode? Well, there is this type of lifestyle that a lot of people aspire to live in. That is the digital nomad lifestyle, where you get to travel all around the world and do the work and make the income that you need to make. So we're going to talk about how exactly do we do that. Today's guest who is with us, he's also been really successful on Clickbank. So we're going to be talking about both those things in this episode. So today's guest who will be in this episode today, he is the world's first blogging digital nomad who's been traveling the world for over 20 years and making money online to fund his amazing adventures. He went from millionaire's row to the bankruptcy court and then back to being a millionaire again. And he's actually made millions of dollars on Clickbank, which definitely gives you that ability to travel around since your income is coming from online. So today's guest for episode 328 of Breakthrough Success is none other than Rob Palmer. Rob, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, Marc, it's really great to be on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to it.
Rob, I'm really happy to have you on the Breakthrough Success podcast, and I look forward to talking about how do we really embrace this digital nomad lifestyle and also make the money that we have to make to really fund it. So before we talk about that, can you just talk a little bit about why you became a digital nomad and just some of the background on that?
So I'm from the UK originally. And I worked as a copywriter for many years, working mostly with kind of big corporates like Microsoft and Apple, HP, lots of high-tech and financial companies. I've been a kind of freelancer for a long time. I quit my last full-time job in 1988, and I've been running my own business one way or another ever since then. So I really enjoy that kind of lifestyle. And it was really when I was working with one of my clients in the early 90s, or in 1993, I came across this strange thing called the internet, which my Boffian pals told me was going to be the next big thing. And the more I kind of looked at it, the more interesting it seemed. I could see it had huge potential, and I wanted to get involved.
And I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you tap into the internet and you're like, wow, I really want to get into this. And that's really how it all starts. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and how you're able to make that money. I know Clickbank was something that really worked well for you. So I'm wondering if you could share a little bit on how you make the money to actually afford the digital nomad lifestyle.
Okay. So when I started online, Clickbank didn't exist. There was very little in the way of affiliate programs. So in the early days, it was more of a question of selling services, using website to sell kind of freelance services. But then as we got towards the late 90s, affiliate programs started happening. And then around about, I think it's about 1999, Clickbank came along. And that was a real game changer, because all of a sudden you had a platform where you could sell digital products and where you could tap into affiliates and start building a real online business. So that was kind of the first opportunity to really do a serious online business. And it was very primitive in those days compared to Clickbank nowadays. There were no recurring products, no upsells, no downsells, none of the kind of features we take for granted nowadays. It was a very basic platform. But even so, it was by far the best thing there was. And it'll enable us to make a lot of sales. So certainly over the years, it's changed quite a bit as time's gone on, and the platform's got better and better. And certainly around about in the early 2000s, you could do absolutely crazy numbers on Clickbank. It's still very big now, but around about 2005, 6, 7, thereabouts. So the volume you could do was crazy. You could have you could just upload a simple ebook, and if a couple of good affiliates picked it up, you could be making $20,000 a day quite easily. And that would last for a while, and then maybe that product would fade away, and you'd find something else to launch and start all over again. So certainly a very interesting platform, and it's still very good if you're an international affiliate. It's great. Clickbank is really good. It makes it easy to get started and to get paid. Whereas with many of the platforms there, it's difficult. If you're outside the US, it's difficult to get started. It's hard to get your money, and there are all kinds of complications. So lots of good reasons for using Clickbank, definitely.
And it's interesting how, I mean, you create a new product, you launch it, and then you got to keep going through the cycle of creating product after product. And in some cases, people do find that core product, but in other cases, it's good to be launching one new product every single year just to continue to attract more customers, get your existing customers to buy more products from you. So there's certainly a lot of merit in creating all these different products and promoting them. But going back to the digital nomad lifestyle, can you talk a little bit about making that kind of a decision? Because it's certainly not an easy one to leave somewhere you're comfortable and then really go all around the world.
Yeah, this is true. It was really a question of seeing that there was an opportunity. So my first kind of digital nomad trip was in 1999. I took my family on a trip to Ireland. And at that time, I just launched my first kind of membership site business, and that was doing okay. It was enough to make a living, and I took my family to Ireland, and I was able to work while we were traveling, which I'd never been able to do before. So this is quite a revolutionary thing, but it wasn't easy. In those days, there was no Wi-Fi, no internet cafes, no co-working spaces. So what I was doing then, I was literally we'd stop at a town, and I'd go and knock on someone's door, and I'd offer them 10 Irish pounds to use their phone for half an hour, or to use their internet connection for half an hour. And sometimes I find someone who says yes, and I could get online, check my email, deal with customer support, that kind of thing, and then off we go traveling again. So that trip made me realize it's possible that you could have a whole new kind of lifestyle. So at the time we were living in London, because I had previously been tied to my corporate clients in London, or the agencies I worked with in London. And now all of a sudden I had this new online business, and I had the freedom to realize we could move out of London. And at first we thought maybe we'd move down to the coast, 40 miles away. And then we thought, well, if we're going to move, we might as well do it big time. And we emigrated to Australia. So we ended up moving 10,000 miles. And started a whole new life in Australia. So my children grew up going surfing after school. We used to go boating weekends, jet skiing, and all this kind of thing. And they really lived the Aussie lifestyle. And that wouldn't have been possible without the internet and online business and this new digital nomad lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about making money online to any capacity, whether it's like training courses or books or whatever you choose, but it does give you more options because you're not attached to a specific location. One of the big challenges I see, though, with the digital nomad lifestyle, like for instance, maybe you're thinking of it more as like being a public speaker and speaking all around nation, world, like whatever you prefer. But maybe you see it as that way. And I feel like one of the big issues people have is maybe they're thinking about it, but they're also thinking maybe they get distracted. Like, maybe they go to someplace on the coast and, they're on the beach all the time. So I really love the ability to be a digital nomad, but how can you like really stick to your work and not feel like you're getting distracted trying to do like touring and like all that other stuff?
That is an issue you have to deal with. It is tempting, maybe if it's another beautiful day, it's tempting to go off down the beach when you should be working. So you need to find a balance. So personally, I like to get up early in the morning and get early start on the day, try and get my kind of day's work done by lunchtime thereabouts, and then I've got the rest of the day free to do whatever I want to do. So certainly when my kids were in school, I'd aim to finish my work before the kids finish school, and then we could just go straight down the beach, go surfing, that kind of thing. So it's I think whenever you have your own business, you have to be disciplined. That's part of what you have to do is to learn to discipline yourself and get things done. But if you can do that, then you can really have a great lifestyle.
And I really like that idea of you being clear with yourself. Like, I want to wake up early so I get all this stuff done by noon because, I mean, if you have all these uninterrupted hours, like if you wake up early, like let's say 5 a.m., just throwing a number out there, you're not getting hit up by as many distractions at 5 a.m. as compared to like 5 p.m. So there's definitely a lot of advantage to waking up early and like setting that habit. I'm wondering if you could share with us, though. I mean, you've done the digital nomad lifestyle. I'm sure you've seen others do it as well. But what do you really believe holds most people back from really being able to embrace this digital nomad lifestyle?
I think the main problem is people simply don't believe that they can do it. They don't have the confidence in themselves to think it could ever work. One of the problems is we're all kind of raised in school and whatever with this mentality that you get an education, then you get a job and you stick with that job for 40 years and you retire and live off your pension and you die and that's your life. And that's the only model we're taught to believe is viable. So a lot of people are really afraid to take the step and leave a secure job and a regular salary and take the risk of going out on their own. So I usually recommend people you can start an online business as a side hustle. You can whether it's blogging or a little bit of online selling, you can start it in evenings and weekends and put your toe in the water, see if it works for you. And if you start making money, you can scale it up and make it a full-time business. You don't have to quit everything. You don't have to just quit your job and risk everything on a business you don't know if it's going to work. You can just take it step by step.
Yeah, it's certainly a great mantra. Take it step by step. And it's those like little breakthroughs along the way that really lead to that big goal that you're going after. So I definitely like that advice. One thing that I do want to touch on is I feel like some people are a little skeptical of the digital nomad lifestyle. I think a big part of that is, leaving that community that you're comfortable with. And, for some people, like you're going from, like maybe having a bunch of friends to like literally knowing no one where you're going. So what advice do you have on that? Like, do you keep touch with people at home? Do you like forget about them and make friends where you are? Like, what's your approach to the human interaction part?
Yeah, I think it's all positive, especially now that we live in such a connected world. You can still stay in touch with your family and friends back home on Facebook or Skype or whatever. So it's not like you have to abandon everyone you know. And what happens is you just end up with a lot more friends. As you travel, you meet people along the way, and before long, you've got friends all over the world. So it's definitely more of a plus than a minus. So I would encourage anybody. I wouldn't let that problem stop you. I would just go out and embrace the opportunity to meet new people. And you never know when the people you meet may open up new doors for you, which may lead to perhaps new business opportunities or new lifestyle opportunities. And it's usually much more good news and not a lot of bad news.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I love doing networking. Like, it's one of the reasons I host Breakthrough Success, because I just want to meet so many awesome people and provide listeners with that content. So if you're going all around the world, you're meeting so many people, getting so many new experiences. So I definitely see a lot of the pros to the digital nomad lifestyle. And of course, you can keep in touch with people through Skype, through Facebook, through whatever it is that you want to use. We just have so many more options now to stay in touch with the people who we want to stay in touch with. And being a digital nomad, I mean, it's definitely a lot of habits that get you there. I mean, Rob mentioned how, he tries to get his work done by noon. But I'm wondering if you could share with us any more of your habits that you would consider essential for your success.
I think the main thing is to focus. One of the problems with online business in general is there are kind of so many opportunities and there are always new things. There's always a new shiny object to chase. And it's very tempting to end up flitting from one project to the next, and you end up with a dozen half-finished projects, and none of them are actually making any money. So you really need to focus on finding something that works well and pursue that until you get the result and it starts making good money for you. Just focus on one opportunity and make the most of that one.
Yeah, I really like that advice because some people, though, they will go from shiny object to shiny object without really having anything to show for. So if we just have that level of focus on that one area that we really want to master, it can certainly make a big difference.
Yeah, and I think especially nowadays, quality is so important. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, you could get away with average quality products and average marketing, and you could do okay. But now that everything is so competitive, and we live in a world where everything gets reviewed on Trustpilot and everything else, you really need good content, you need good products, you need good marketing. So you want to focus on doing those things really well for one project rather than trying to keep half a dozen balls in the air at the same time.
Yes, I mean, as you mentioned, like it's definitely a lot more difficult now than it was, when the internet was just starting and, Clickbank was a relatively new option. But just because it's more difficult doesn't mean it's impossible. And there are people who are just going to start their businesses in 2019 and be a big success like 2 or 3 years later making money. Now, that's not everyone can do it in 2-3 years, but the idea is that it's never too late for anyone to really go on this niche.
No, definitely not. Now is the time. Sometimes if you hang around internet marketing forums, you see people complaining and saying, SEO dead now. It was good 5 years ago. Facebook advertising, CPMs too high now. It was better. It was good 3 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. None of that is true. Now is the best time ever to start a business, especially an online business, because the tools are amazing now. Whatever you want to go into, the tools for research, like SEO research tools, the tools like Facebook advertising. It's such a sophisticated platform. All these things are way more powerful than the tools we had even 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago. And plus the information available for training. You can go on YouTube now and you can be an expert on anything over a weekend. Let's say if you want to learn SEO, you can, Friday night you know nothing about SEO. You spend a weekend watching YouTube videos, and by Sunday evening you've got a pretty good grounding. Plus there are platforms like Teachable and Skillshare, all these where you can, Udemy, we can sign up for a course for $10, $15, and again you get a wealth of information. So you can become an expert, whereas 10, 15 years ago, we were wandering around in the dark. We had to figure it out on our own. We didn't have all this information. So now even though it is competitive, I think still today is the best time ever to start a business.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep getting better as the tools get better, as our potential to have an impact gets better. I mean, it just depends on the mindset you have for this thing. And I mean, you have so much information. I mean, Rob mentioned you could just watch YouTube videos and become an expert. While that is certainly an option, my preferred one anyway, just for me, is to read a lot of books. So with that in mind, Rob, what's one book recommendation you have for us?
One book. Okay. I would say, so we're talking about getting started early in the morning. So I think a good one is Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. That's a great book on making an early start to the day and being really productive in those first few hours of the day. And I find the advice really effective, helps you get things done, and you'll achieve so much more in the morning and have a lot of the day free to do other things.
Rob, thank you for sharing with us that great book recommendation. That will be in the show notes, markguberti.com/E328. We'll throw in content marketing secrets as well. If you want to grow and monetize a content brand, that is the book for you. And before we wrap up this episode, Rob, I've asked you several questions throughout our time together, but what do you believe is one question that we need to be asking ourselves more often?
Okay, so I think we definitely need to appreciate the time we have. So I think sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs, it's easy to get to be kind of so busy. We've got so many things you want to do that you kind of forget to take time to enjoy life. So sometimes you should ask yourself, am I finding the time to enjoy my time here on planet Earth as well? You need to stop and smell the roses and make the most of wherever you are. It's good to have a plan for where you want to go, but you should definitely take the time to enjoy where you are right now as well and make the most of that.
Rob, that is a really great question and insight for us as we wrap up this episode. It is good for us to really pause and just enjoy the moments that we have in our lives, because we only have one chance to really enjoy and do all the different things that we want to do. And if you are someone who wants a little help with doing all these different things, being a digital nomad, achieving all the success, word on the block is that Rob has a coaching and mentoring program that helps people leverage their expertise to create an online business so they can go anywhere, do anything, and be anyone. Rob, is there anything you want to say about that program that you have available for us?
Yeah, that's something that I didn't plan to do, but so many people have asked me, how do you do what you do, that I've started doing some coaching and mentoring to help people. So if anybody wants to know more about that, they can just go to gofreelance.com and contact me there. But basically, I would just encourage anyone, if you want to escape from your day job and you want to live a better life and see the world and do interesting things, it's definitely possible no matter how old you are. My son sold his first ebook when he was 15, and now he's a full-time online marketer. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of years, and I'm just still starting new projects. So it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter where you live. I live in Thailand now. I've done this in the UK and Australia. You can do this anywhere in the world. So just decide that you're going to make a commitment and go for it and make it happen.
Rob, really awesome stuff, and definitely age is not a limit to success, something that I've been a big advocate for very early in my journey. But I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing all of your great insights with us. For everyone listening, I encourage you to join us in the Facebook group to share your top takeaways and just interact with everyone else listening to the show. That group is over at contentmarketingplaza.com/Facebook. But Rob, once again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on Breakthrough Success with us in this episode.
Thanks for asking me on the show. It's had a good time. Hope everybody enjoys it.